Hey everyone, this is Leo from Practical Data Training, and today we're going to look at how we can structure a data warehouse to store historical information by capturing weekly snapshots. Now, this method doesn't necessarily follow all the best practices in the industry, and it doesn't solve every problem. But it does give you a really simple way to create a data warehouse, and business users generally love the output format of this. So let's dive in. Imagine we own a mobile app and we have to track bugs that users submit. And these bugs go through a very simple business process. A customer reports a bug, the status is set to new. We then assign that to someone to look at and set the status to assigned. Eventually they start working on it, change the status to working, and hopefully they fix the bug, they set the status to closed, and we notify the customer. It's a pretty simple process. Now, our bugs database may look something like this. We have a bugs table up here, and it has an ID, title, a create date, and then we have some foreign keys representing a component, status, and users who they're assigned to. If we look at statuses, we have ID 1 through 4, which is new through closed. So status 3 is working, status 2 is assigned, status 1 is new. Same with components. We have some IDs, so we have UI, middleware, and backend. And then we have some users that we can assign the bugs to. You'll notice this guy here, bug ID number 3, new account doesn't send email, doesn't have a user ID, and that's because the status ID is 1, which up here is new. It's not assigned yet, and that's okay. So we create this, but we have some business users who want to start creating reports on bugs, and they don't know anything about foreign keys, and they don't want to mess with SQL. They just want to import something into Excel and create their reports. So we give them a view. It's the same data, it's live, but it denormalizes where we would normally have foreign keys. So instead of seeing some ID for a component, we see that this is UI, this is backend, this is middleware, this is assigned to Duke, this is a status equals new. We give that to our users and they're happy. They're like, yeah, that's much easier. But I need to create weekly reports. I need to see trends. I want to know how many bugs we're creating each week. All right. Now we've gone past a simple view and the ability to query existing bugs. Now we need to kind of create a data warehouse. And we're going to do this by storing weekly snapshots. At the end of each week, we'll take a copy of this view and we're going to paste it into another table. Or I should say we're going to insert it in an actual database table. Now I'm going to use Excel just to show you the format, but of course you would do this in your database using some ETL, maybe a SQL Server agent job if you're on a Microsoft platform. So let's start. It's January 4th, which is the last day of work week 1, and the work week simply means the numbered week of the year. So work week 1 of 2020 is the first week of the year. Work week 2 is the second week, so on and so forth. So we're getting close to midnight. It's the end of the week. We're going to capture the state of these bugs at that point in time. So let's go ahead and copy that. And we're going to paste it over here, which represents an insert into an actual table. And you're going to see we created a few extra columns here. First of all, we put the work week in. So this is the work week we created the snapshot for. So this means this is the ending state of the bugs in work week 1 of 2020. And since we're doing this at a weekly grain, it certainly makes sense to convert any dates we have to work weeks. So the create date, the day that the bug was created, is going to be changed, or not changed, but we're going to create a new column that shows the work week they were created in. And we're going to keep component status and assigned to denormalized and put the actual values in instead of IDs. And since we know our business users need to determine how many new bugs we have in a week, we'll put some logic in that clearly isn't working right now. And we're going to say that these are new bugs in this work week. Since the create work week equals the work week we took this snapshot, we know that these are new bugs, but they'll never show up as new bugs again. All right, so let's fast forward. It's 1/11/2020, a week later, getting close to midnight, and some of these have changed. For instance, this new account doesn't send email. This one has been assigned, and it was assigned to Audrey Parker because we need our best on this. And maybe, let's look at this one. Crash on Firefox submit. That was closed. So we have a few changes. That means our view will also change. So this status is going to change to closed. This status is going to be assigned. And we know this was assigned to Audrey Parker. And if you look at these IDs to these, they should match up. Hopefully I didn't make a mistake here. Certainly possible. Now we're going to take this data and we're going to take another snapshot. So at the end of this week, we're going to take the data that's in this view and we're going to add it to the table that has the historical information. Except we probably don't want this actual title, the column headers in there. Let me remove that. So we have the same 3 bugs. We know that they are not new bugs. Our work week has updated with a little mistake here, so let's change that. All right. Our create dates don't change. The create work week doesn't change because it's based on the create date. So really, what we're going to see that's different is any changes in these bugs. This one was assigned from, if you look at bug ID 3, its status and who it was assigned to changed. On bug ID 1, we see that it changed from working up here to closed over here. Now you could imagine doing this week after week, and pretty soon you have a good history of bug information. Now there are a few things that can happen, or let's say there are some limitations here. For instance, what happens if we create a bug and it's closed in the same week? So let's fast forward. Now we're at 1/18/2020, which is the last day of work week 3. And you know, maybe this bug moved to working. And so we'd go down here and say this is now working. And maybe bug 3 didn't change, but we got a new bug. And we'll call this logic error. And maybe this one was submitted on 1/15/2020. The component is middleware. The status at this point in time is closed. And it's assigned to Audrey Parker. So at some point during this week, before 1/18, it was submitted and it had a status of new. It got assigned. It was working, and then by the end of the week, all we know about it is it's closed. So let's go ahead and update our view, which is something we wouldn't do manually. Of course, the view updates automatically according to the underlying data up here. But we're going to copy this in. Logic error. It was created on 1/15/2020. And the component ID is middleware. The status is closed. And it's assigned to Audrey Parker. All right, now it's time to take our weekly snapshot. Since it's the end of the week, it's getting close to midnight. Let's go ahead and copy that data into our table. And it looks like I got the column headings again, so I'll delete those. And I have an error here in the work week. That should be 2020-03. Okay, so do you see an issue here? This bug only shows up once, and the first time we see it in the history table, it's showing up as closed. It should also show up as is new bug because it was created in that work week. Now, this is just one of the things. If you use this pattern for creating a historical data warehouse, you won't have this history to know what happened between when it was new and when it was closed, because the only record we'll have of it is at the end of the week in work week 3, and that's just the way it is. So this isn't a perfect setup. There's certainly issues that make this less than ideal. On the other hand, this can be a very useful pattern and will allow people to do the reporting they need. For instance, it would be very easy to create a pivot table here and determine how many new bugs we have a week. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll insert pivot table. We'll put it in the existing worksheet. Maybe just throw it right here. And we can put work week on the rows, and we'll just put is new bug as the values, and we'll get the sum of that. And you can see week by week we know how many new bugs we have. We could also report on the statuses of bugs week by week. We could add is closed work week in here. There's a lot of things we can do to provide more value, but in the end we want to give our business users the ability to report on historical data. In this case we chose a weekly grain. We could also use a daily grain. So instead of doing this once a week, we would do it once a day, and instead of showing work week, we'd probably just put a date in here. That's it. So try this out. If you need a quick and dirty data warehouse with historical reporting, this is a great way to do it while you're learning and becoming a better business intelligence developer. All right, have a great day.